Hey there! Hi! Merry Christmas! I have plenty of information to share this time, and I hope you're not too distracted while listening to all this. Would you like to see more people find the Daily Bible Reading Podcast? If so, here's a quick way you can really make a difference. Some time ago, I made a channel for the Daily Bible Reading Podcast on YouTube, which is linked here in the episode notes. Please, even if you never intend to listen to a single episode on YouTube, please click the link and subscribe to that channel. The more people that are subscribed, the higher our channel will appear in search results. At the beginning of 2019, I hope to be able to make YouTube playlists of episodes a month at a time, so that it becomes easier for people to actually listen to the Daily Bible Reading Podcast using that platform. I'm going to say Daily Bible Reading Podcast many times, and I'm going to start using the abbreviation DBRP. YouTube is the second most popular internet search engine. So please help some people who are searching to discover the DBRP. Just click the link at the top of the episode notes for this episode and click to subscribe to our channel. If you're listening on a platform that doesn't support links in the episode notes, please go to our website, dailybiblereading.info, and there you'll see this episode in the listing, and the complete episode notes with links are there. Currently, there are only 8 people subscribed to our YouTube channel. No wonder it's going nowhere in the search results. The Daily Bible Reading Podcast got off to a rough start in 2018. This was due to my not observing how the multiplicity of our podcasts and different types were being displayed in the Apple Podcast app, which was updated around that time. Many Apple users, including my son David, were having difficulty finding the next episode they wanted to listen to. Getting rid of the inconvenience was important because around half of our audience are listening on Apple devices and primarily using the podcast app. So, at the beginning of 2018, we lost many listeners. To address the problem, I've taken 3 categories from the DBRP and moved them to 2 different new podcasts. This makes it so that menus and search results are less cluttered everywhere. So here's how it will work for next year. If you want to listen to the NLT podcast series starting on January 1st, use our first website, which is dailybiblereading.info. You'll find complete information about listening apps and how to subscribe in the README PDF file linked at the top of the site. New episodes of the NLT will be released every day. Links for everything I'm talking about right now are given in the episode notes. If you want to listen to the GNT podcast series next year, those are no longer being released daily at the first site, but at the new one, dailygntbiblereading.info. Every day a new GNT episode will be released to all the podcast apps and will be available at the website. Complete information about listening apps and how to subscribe are found in the README PDF file linked at the top of the site. That site again is dailygntbiblereading.info. Our first website continues to be dailybiblereading.info. The only difference in the names is the addition of the GNT for the second site. If you enjoyed the Joy Sighting series of podcasts, I've moved those to a new location, joysightings.info. See podcast subscription information at that site. The Joy Sightings podcasts are for sharing parables of all kinds, but especially those of Safed the Sage. The joysightings.info site also is host to the Day Starter series. The Day Starters podcasts are GNT New Testament readings which were prepared for our daughter Hannah so that she could start homeschooling days for Ava and Joel by listening to Grandpa read and pray. The readings are just the New Testament portions from the GNT series of the DBRP, and they do not cover the more difficult readings in the New Testament. See the table of contents for both the Day Starter and Joy Sightings podcasts at joysightings.info. Again, I ask for your help. If you are an Apple device user and are still using the native Apple Podcast app to listen to the original DBRP, not the newer GNT podcast, please tell me if you are more easily finding your episodes now. If there are problems, please send me a screenshot and tell me the difficulties you're having. In looking forward to the new year, I never encourage people to listen to my podcasts for 2 years in a row. If you've listened to me for 1 year, it's time to find a different voice. But this year, I have something new to suggest to you. I'm releasing a new 100% audio reading plan for the YouVersion Bible app, and the plan is called Read to Me Daily. This will be almost like listening to one of my podcasts, almost, but not quite. You'll only hear my voice for the first 3 minutes reading the devotional introduction. But after you play the audio on the devotional page, then the YouVersion app will automatically play the default audio recordings for the 2 Old Testament portions and 1 New Testament portion in whatever version you are using. This obviously won't work for Bibles which don't have recordings. The translations I recommend using for this plan are the NLT, GNT, and NIV. For those who have read the NLT and GNT recently, I suggest following the NIV this year. Just a by the way, that's the version I plan to read in 2019. One thing I like about how this Read to Me Daily reading plan is going to work out using the YouVersion Bible app is the ease of use and flexibility. Some people will choose to read on their own without activating the audio on days when it's convenient for them, but then listen to the readings on days when they commute to work. Or someone might listen 1 week to the readings in the GNT and the next week use the NIV recordings. Some people who delve deeper might want to listen to some daily readings twice, perhaps once in the ESV and once in the NLT. Everything will be easy to do using just one app, the YouVersion Bible app. This Read to Me Daily reading plan will follow the same Digging Deeper Daily reading calendar as the DBRP. So on any day you might want to, you could jump to listening to your day number in one of the 2 DBRP podcasts. The reason I recommend the NLT, GNT, or NIV for the Read to Me Daily plan is because those 3 translations are easier to understand in audio form. This plan will be released in 4 semesters to cover the whole year. The first semester is 81 days. Please help me spread the word about the new Read to Me Daily plan. I'll release an audio invitation soon. Please share it with your friends. Let me shift the topic back to the podcasts now. Recently, I was talking to a man who has a ministry to the elderly in our town. It seems to me that the Amazon Alexa devices are the easiest way for elderly people to listen to the DBRP. I've already registered an Alexa skill for the DBRP, and I'm applying for an Alexa skill for the daily GNT Bible reading podcast as well. Alexa devices like the Echo Dot start at just $29. But to use it, the person also needs to have a Wi-Fi connection. By the last week of December, I'll have new information in the README PDF file linked at the top of our websites that will tell you how to get things set up for using Alexa devices. Once you initiate the podcast on the Alexa device for your elderly friend, they can listen anytime they want by saying, "Alexa, play the next episode of Daily Bible Reading Podcast."
You have Daily Bible Reading enabled. Do you want to open it?
Yes.
Welcome back. Would you like to continue where you last left off, with NLT_063?
Skip to the next episode.
You skipped forward 1 episode, GNT_063. Would you like to listen to that?
Yes.
Here's GNT_063.
Hi there. No matter where you are and no matter what time of the day.
The initial idea for the Daily Bible Reading Podcast was to leave the recordings as a legacy for our grandkids. So far, none of our grandkids have made it through a whole year's worth. They currently range in ages from 16 down to 3, so there is still hope that they will listen to Grandpa someday. With the help of our podcast publisher, the DBRP is able to be subscribed to in almost any podcast aggregator app, and there are many. Plus, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Facebook, YouTube, and soon in Pandora. I dropped the subscription to the dedicated Android and Apple Podcast apps, but I see that at least the Android app is still available in the Play Store. On my tablet, I noticed that the Android app is still working just fine. So for some of you, I recommend that as a hassle-free and advertising-free way to listen. I still recommend the Podbean aggregator app for both Android and Apple devices. It has nice bells and whistles for listening, but it does show advertising while the podcast plays. And now I'm talking about something different than podcasts. There are 2 more apps from YouVersion, also publishing under the name Life Church, that I want to tell you about. The first is Bible Lens. This app makes it easy to put Bible verses with any pictures that you have in your mobile phone or tablet. You're given multiple ways to creatively format the verses, and the output is more artistic than is possible using the verse image feature that is available inside the YouVersion Bible app. And by the way, if you're not using the verse image feature that is available in the YouVersion Bible app, highlight a verse and choose the image option. A second terrific app from Life Church is Bible App for Kids. This app is a very engaging way for kids from about 4 to 8 years old to listen to and watch Bible stories. The interface is like a game, and your kids will be able to navigate through and play the stories they want themselves. One of my spiritual fathers, Richard Burson, gave me Sam Shoemaker's book, Extraordinary Living for Ordinary Man. In that book was Shoemaker's poem, I Stand by the Door. I'll read that poem at the end. I've edited the poem somewhat, and you can find the link to the poem in the episode notes. But here I'll give just the first lines. I stand by the door. I neither go too far in nor stay too far out. The door is the most important door in the world. It's the door through which people walk when they find God. Not just a few times, I've been tempted to be envious of people who have such wonderful ministries to overflowing audiences, or who are invited to lead organizations. Somehow, no one ever chooses me for anything like that. This poem has encouraged me because it seems like God has called me to take my place near the door Shoemaker talks about. And truthfully, it's surprised me that God gave me an audience through my podcast. And guess what? We find now that the door has moved. At the time Shoemaker wrote, the door might have been to a church or an organization like the one Shoemaker founded, where people might come and find answers. Now the door is more often via YouTube or Stitcher, Facebook, or the app called WhatsApp. God is still calling many people to come to Jesus. So many people are spiritually hungry and searching for answers. Please join me in standing near the door. Before I read the poem to close this podcast, I want to remind you to follow the link at the top of the episode notes to go to YouTube and subscribe to that channel. Let's pray that this will help some find the door. I stand by the door. I neither go too far in nor stay too far out. The door is the most important door in the world. It's the door through which people walk when they find God. There's no use my going way inside and staying there when so many people are outside, and they, as much as I, crave to know where the door is. And all that so many ever find is only the wall where a door ought to be. They creep along the wall like those who are blind, with outstretched, groping hands, feeling for a door, knowing there must be a door, yet they never find it. So I stand by the door. The most tremendous thing in the world is for people to find the door to God. The most important thing anyone can do is to take hold of one of those blind, groping hands and put it on the latch that only clicks and opens to one's own touch. People die outside the door as starving beggars die on cold nights in cruel cities in the dead of winter. Die for want of what is within their grasp, while others on the other side of the door live because they have found it. Nothing else matters compared to helping those on the outside find it too, and open it, and walk in, and find Him. So I stand by the door. Go in, great saints. Go all the way in. Go way down into the cavernous cellars and way up into the spacious attics. In a vast, roomy house, this house where God is. Go into the deepest of hidden casements, of withdrawal, of silence, of sainthood. Some must inhabit those inner rooms and know the depths and heights of God, and call outside to the rest of us how wonderful it is. Sometimes I take a deeper look in, sometimes I venture a little farther, but my place seems closer to the opening, so I stand by the door. The people too far in do not see how near some others are to leaving, those far in ones being preoccupied with the wonder of it all. Somebody must watch for those who have entered the door but would like to run away, so for them too I stand by the door. I admire the people who go way in, but I wish they wouldn't forget how it was before they got in. Then they'd be able to help the people who've not even found the door, or the people who want to run away again from God. You can go in too deeply and stay in too long and forget the people outside the door. As for me, I'll take my old accustomed place, near enough to God to hear Him and know He is there, but not so far from people that I can't hear them and remember that they're there too. Where are they? Outside the door. Thousands of them, millions of them. But more important for me, one of them, 2 of them, 10 of them, whose hands I am intended to put on the latch. So I'll stand by the door and wait for those who seek it. I had rather be a doorkeeper, so I stand by the door.